If you go into a Stone session, do they go up to Elton John and say, "Don't play it like this, play it like that"? Do they
Of
direct
course.
you?
Of course,
They
there's
do.
no. Yeah, if I play on somebody's sessions,
At 77 years old, Elton John just dropped a bombshell that's rocking the music world. There are 6 legendary bands he absolutely hated. Why would the Rocket Man himself, known for his flamboyant style and chart-topping hits, despise bands that defined rock history? Was it rivalry, jealousy, or something deeper? Stay with us, because number 1 will change how you see Elton forever. Buckle up as we dive into the 6 iconic bands Elton John couldn't stand, counting down from number 6 to the shocking, jaw-dropping number 1. You won't believe who made the list. This is going to get juicy. Elton John? The name alone conjures images of glittery costumes, oversized glasses, and timeless hits like Rocket Man and Tiny Dancer. With over 300 million records sold and a career spanning 6 decades, he's a titan of pop music. But behind the glitz and glamour, Elton was no stranger to the cutthroat music scene of the 1970s, where egos clashed, rivalries simmered, and not every artist was singing "Kumbaya" backstage. In interviews over the years, Elton's been known to throw shade, sometimes subtle, sometimes not so much. From his early days as a struggling songwriter to his rise as a global superstar, he's had opinions, strong ones. And while he's collaborated with legends like John Lennon and Billy Joel, there were some bands he just couldn't vibe with. So, let's get into it. What bands rubbed Elton the wrong way? Let's start our countdown at number 6. Number 6, the Sex Pistols. Coming in at number 6, we have the punk rock rebels, the Sex Pistols. Now, if you know anything about the late 70s music scene, you know punk was a slap in the face to the polished pop and glam rock that Elton John ruled. The Sex Pistols, with their raw energy, anti-establishment lyrics, and chaotic performances, were the poster boys of punk. Songs like "God Save the Queen" shocked the world, and their lead singer, Johnny Rotten, wasn't exactly known for playing nice. So, why did Elton John reportedly dislike them? Well, it's not hard to guess. In a 1977 interview, Elton didn't hold back his thoughts on punk rock, calling it a fad, and saying it lacked the musical depth he valued. He was all about melody and craftsmanship, while the Pistols were about tearing it all down. Imagine Elton, in his rhinestone jumpsuits, watching Johnny Rotten sneer through a performance. It's like oil and water. But there's more to it. The Sex Pistols were vocal about their disdain for the music establishment, and Elton, as a chart-topping icon, was part of that world. Rumor has it, Johnny Rotten once called Elton's music boring in a radio interview, and that kind of jab would have stung. Elton was known for his sharp tongue, and in a 1970s magazine called Friends, he didn't mince words about other artists' covers of his songs, so it's no stretch to think he'd take punk's rebellion personally. Did the Sex Pistols' raw, unpolished sound just grate on Elton's ears, or was it their attitude that got under his skin? Whatever the case, the clash of punk versus pop royalty lands the Sex Pistols at number 6. Number 5, The Clash. At number 5, we've got another punk powerhouse, The Clash. Known for their politically charged anthems like London Calling and Rock the Casbah, The Clash brought a bit more musical sophistication to punk than the Sex Pistols, blending reggae, ska, and rock. But even that wasn't enough to win over Elton John. Why? Well, let's dig into it. The Clash were all about social commentary, railing against the system in a way that contrasted sharply with Elton's more personal, storytelling lyrics written with Bernie Taupin. In the late 70s, as punk exploded, Elton was at the height of his fame, but he was also battling personal demons, addiction, fame, and identity struggles. The Clash's outspoken activism might have felt like a critique of the glitzy rock star lifestyle Elton embodied. There's also a hint of professional rivalry here. The Clash were darlings of the critics, often praised for their authenticity, while Elton's flamboyant persona sometimes got him labeled as over the top. In a 1980s interview, Elton reportedly dismissed punk bands as trying too hard to be relevant, which could easily apply to the Clash's earnest political anthems. Did he see their music as a challenge to his own? Or was it just a case of two very different worlds colliding? Either way, the Clash's place at number 5 shows that even punk's more polished rebels didn't escape Elton's critical eye. Number 4. Led Zeppelin. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. At number 4, it's none other than Led Zeppelin, the gods of hard rock. With epic tracks like Stairway to Heaven and Whole Lotta Love, Zeppelin defined the 70s rock scene. So how could Elton John possibly have beef with them? Well, let's unpack this. Led Zeppelin's bombastic sound, intricate guitar riffs, and Robert Plant's larger-than-life stage presence were the complete opposite of Elton's piano-driven melodic pop. In a 1970s interview, Elton reportedly called some of Zeppelin's music overblown and said he preferred simpler, more emotional songwriting. That's a bold statement when you're talking about a band that practically invented arena rock. But there's more to the story. The 70s were a competitive time, and both Elton and Zeppelin were vying for the same spotlight. Elton was churning out #1 albums like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, while Zeppelin was packing stadiums. There's also a chance that Elton's dislike stemmed from their differing approaches to fame. Elton was open about his struggles, while Zeppelin cultivated a mysterious, almost mythical aura. Did Elton find their larger-than-life image pretentious? Or was it just that their hard rock sound didn't resonate with his piano-playing soul? Whatever the reason, Led Zeppelin lands at number 4 on this list of bands Elton reportedly couldn't stand. Number 3. The Rolling Stones. We're in the top 3 now, and at number 3, we have the Rolling Stones. Yes, the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and their gritty, bluesy rock and roll. This one's a shocker, right? The Stones were the bad boys of rock, with hits like Satisfaction and Paint It Black, and they shared the 70s stage with Elton as giants of the industry. So, what went wrong? Well, back in 1973, when Elton was trying to record Goodbye Yellow Brick Road in Jamaica, the sessions were a disaster. Partly because the studio was booked by the Stones, and their laid-back island time vibe clashed with Elton's need for structure. He later called the experience a nightmare, and you can imagine that left a bad taste. There's also the matter of style. The Stones' raw, rebellious energy was worlds apart from Elton's polished, theatrical performances. In a 1970s interview, Elton hinted that some rock bands relied too much on attitude over substance, and many fans speculated he was throwing shade at Jagger and company. Could it be that Elton felt overshadowed by the Stones' legendary status? Or did their carefree approach to music just rub him the wrong way? The Rolling Stones at number 3 is a bold call, but the tension between these two titans makes it believable. Number 2. The Who were almost at the top, and at number 2, it's The Who, the explosive rockers behind Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again. The Who were known for their high-energy performances, smashing guitars, and Pete Townshend's epic songwriting. So, why would Elton John have an issue with them? Well, let's connect the dots. The Who were a dominant force in the 70s. and Elton actually covered their song Pinball Wizard for the 1975 film Tommy, where he played the pinball wizard himself. Sounds like a match made in heaven, right? Not quite. Rumor has it, Elton felt the film's production was chaotic, and he wasn't thrilled with how his contribution was handled. Plus, there's the matter of musical rivalry. The Who's rock operas and complex arrangements were critically acclaimed, sometimes stealing the spotlight from Elton's more straightforward pop hits. In a 1976 interview, Elton reportedly said some bands were more about the spectacle than the music, which many took as a dig at The Who's theatrical antics. Did Elton feel like The Who's larger-than-life shows overshadowed his own? Or was it just a clash of personalities? Either way, The Who at number 2 is a surprising twist in this tale of musical grudges. Number 1. The Beach Boys. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The number 1 band Elton John reportedly hated the most. The Beach Boys. Yes, the kings of surf rock, with their sunny harmonies and hits like Surfin' USA and Good Vibrations. This one's a head-scratcher, so let's dive in. The Beach Boys, led by Brian Wilson's genius, were a massive influence on pop music, and Elton himself listed them as one of his inspirations in a 1970s interview. So, what went wrong? Well, some say it was professional jealousy. In the early 70s, the Beach Boys were struggling to stay relevant, while Elton was skyrocketing to fame. Their complex harmonies and experimental albums like Pet Sounds were critical darlings, but Elton's chart dominance might have made him feel like he was in their shadow. There's also a personal angle. In a 1970 Friends magazine interview, Elton was brutally honest about other artists' covers of his songs, calling some awful or an abortion. While he didn't name the Beach Boys directly, their polished, harmonious style was the opposite of Elton's raw, piano-driven sound. Did he think they were overrated? Or was it a case of two pop giants clashing over the same audience? Whatever the reason, the Beach Boys take the top spot as the band Elton John reportedly couldn't stand. Mind-blowing, right? And there you have it. The 6 bands Elton John reportedly hated the most. From the punk chaos of the Sex Pistols to the sunny vibes of the Beach Boys. But what do you think? Did Elton's competitive streak fuel these rivalries, or was it just a clash of musical styles? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know which band's inclusion shocked you the most. If you enjoyed this deep dive into music history, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more juicy stories from the world of rock and roll. Until next time, keep rocking!